What's the average person's number of sexual partners? Got it? Okay. It varies. The average number of sexual partners for men and women in the United States is 7.2. Now, I have heard a lot lower than that, like 3 or 4. Maybe that's the old data. The UK-based health and beauty retailer asked more than 2,000 men, more than 2,000 fucking A, and women in the United States and Europe to explain their thoughts and experiences on sexual histories. Really? Okay, so here we go. While the average varies based on gender and location, the survey shows that when it comes to what's average, normal doesn't actually exist. About what I would expect from the San Francisco-based Healthline. Sexual history varies, and that's totally normal. What's important is that you're safe and taking precautions to prevent the spread of sexually transmitted diseases. So fuck who you want, but don't worry. Just make sure you wrap the rascal. How does this average vary state by state? As it turns out, the average number of sexual partners varies drastically from state to state. Louisiana residents reported an average of 15.7 sexual partners. Oh, yeah. Wait a minute. Here we go. Wait. We got to go back to this one. Louisiana residents reported an average of 15.7 sexual partners, while Utah, in their prudish ways, clocked in at 2.6. But the difference makes sense since 62% of Utah's residents are members of the Church of Jesus Christ and Latter-day Saints. But they can have more than one wife, if you think about it, which promotes abstinence until marriage. So there you go. They're prudes and we're not. How does the overall American average compare to that of other countries? Given the variance within the United States, it comes as no surprise, or not, that the average differs throughout Europe. Respondents of the UK averaged 7 partners, while Italy averaged only 4.5. So much for the Latin lovers. Unfortunately, data on outside the United States and Western Europe isn't readily accessible. Yeah, and it's also qualitative and self-reported. So it's hard to extend the comparison further, meaning we didn't even bother to look. How often do people lie about their number? Well, this is great. How often did they lie? How often do you lie? 10% of the time? Okay. According to the survey, 41.3% of men and 32.6% of women admitted to lying about their sexual history. Well, kind of offsets the average there, doesn't it? Overall, men were more likely to increase their number of sexual partners, whereas women were more likely to decrease it. Okay. Still, 5.8% of women and 10.1% of men admitted to both increasing and decreasing the number depending on the circumstances. So it's really anybody's guess whether these stats are full of shit or they're not. Honestly, it's easy to understand why people might lie about their number. Okay, yes, easy for sure. Outdated social expectations might lead men to believe they need to increase their number to seem more impressive. Yeah, but it's not social pressures or social expectations. It is women who select for guys who are good lovers who have been pre-selected. Here we go with social constructionism again. But on the flip side, women might feel they have to decrease their number so they aren't seen as promiscuous. Why? Why? Why would that be? Why would there even if I could grant you the social construction argument, which I won't, but even if I could grant that to you, why would the social construction of promiscuity, virginity seeming more impressive, why would that exist in the fucking first place? Nobody wants to ask these questions. Either way, it's important to remember your sexual history is your own business. No one should ever feel pressured to adhere to society's or any specific individual standards. This is the Healthline he's quoting right here. Do you think maybe this has had maybe he aligns with this? I don't know. Is it possible to be too conservative or promiscuous? 8% A whopping 8% of respondents said they were somewhat likely or very likely to end a relationship if their partner had too few sexual partners. But what is too few? This is a question. Right? According to the survey, women said 1.9 partners was too conservative, while men said 2.3. So, ladies, you better get busy because the average guy wants you to have at least 2 dudes in your history before you guys get after it. On the flip side, 30% of people said that they were somewhat likely or very likely to end a relationship if the partner had too many sexual partners. Again, they're asking 2,000. Is that what it is? 2,000 people. Okay. 30%. Okay. Women are generally more flexible than men when it comes to their partner's sexual history. Why? Why would that be? Viewing 15.2% of partners for two partners as too promiscuous. So dudes, you have a tolerance of 15. Don't get to 16 because then you're done. You're too promiscuous. But if you're 15 or lower, you're A-okay. As too promiscuous, men said they prefer partners with 14 or less. So ladies, you better limit it to 14 guys. Just saying. Clearly, the ideal number varies from person to person, and although some may have a preferred number in mind, others may not want to know about their partner's sexual history. That's okay too, because you wouldn't want to be seen as insecure in your masculinity. Remember, there's no real average. If that's the case, then why the fuck are you citing this source? It varies based on gender and location and background. So who cares? Who knows? Not me. Your number of past sexual partners doesn't define your value. Well, who defines it? How is it defined? What makes you valuable? What doesn't make you valuable? Is it the sexual market value? Is it your personal worth? Is it your integrity? What are the criteria for value? Sharing your number is less important than being honest about your STI status. Yeah. And taking precautions to keep yourself and your partner safe. So really what this is all about is Rap the Rascal. American men and women tend to agree, citing a respective 7.6 and 7.5 partners is ideal. What did we say? By the way, if you happen to catch the promiscuity episode that Myron and I did in, I want to say it was February or March of last year. Thanks, Drew Affawalo. We did this. We said, okay, because we got this on the super chats. People were saying, so what's the ideal number? We were looking at the stats between say, what was it? Depression, instance of divorce, marital stability / happiness, and STIs, which they're talking about. And so we look at these and after 6, that's the tipping point. We even said, we still joke about it today. Well, what's the ideal number? 6. Lo and behold, here we have, they're a little bit above, right? 7.6 or 7.5 is ideal. Ideal. I want a guy who's got 7, almost 8 chicks under his belt before he's ideal. It's almost laughable because the actual study here contradicts what he was saying. So at what point, wait a minute here. But the survey found that what's perceived as ideal varies based on location. Europeans were more likely to give a higher ideal number. The ideal number of past sexual partners in France is, for example, is 10. Do you think that if you got in the DeLorean and you went back in time prior to the sexual revolution, prior to hormonal birth control, do you think these numbers would be lower? Or would they be the same? Because if they were the same, then that would mean that there's something, or if they were different, that would mean something took place that allowed us to change our minds about what the ideal partner, our ideal body count is. Curiouser and curiouser, huh? At what point should you discuss your sexual history with your partner? Okay. Sex, how to practice safe sex. Here you go. Okay. Okay. We get them the nuts and bolts. You guys get that. You get the point. You understand what I'm saying here? So that's the study. That's it. That's where he just said 7 partners, right? Ideal. That's what they want. Really? Well, funny thing is if anything, me and Myron were a point below that. We were a little bit more conservative than that. So where do you go from now?